Hello and welcome everybody to Playground to Premiership episode 9. So we're off and running this year. We've already done obviously Martin O'Connor episode 8 and we're really looking forward to episode 9. Now, Steve, I'm going to give you the intro. Obviously, Steve Hayward had a really great career. You played early days at Derby. You played obviously at Fulham, Barnsley, and obviously the England youth. We've got a few memorable things to talk about here. But what I think will be really nice is we're going to get, I've always said we try and do a player and a parent perspective when we're on the podcast. And as maybe people have seen on the photo, your Vinnie started with me in its infancy and was around Ace when we first started. And now he's at the Villa. So I think this will be a really interesting podcast, first of all, for you and your journey, but how that transitions into a parent's perspective for someone who's played the game. So thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
You're only a local lad from Pelsall, so you haven't had to come too far. So where we always start, Steve, and again, locally, I know sort of the landscape of football, but again, it was interesting speaking to you. Take it back to your formative years. You seen Ace when we had 8 kids or we started. And obviously we're a little bit bigger now and football is very different. This wouldn't have been around when you played, would it?
No.
Take us all the way back, Steve, to you starting your football journey.
I think my football journey started with I've got an older brother, Sean, who was a really good player. He was 3 years older than me. So I think at our age then, you couldn't start till under 10. So my informative years were really hanging on to my brother's coattails, really. Playing with him, playing with his friends, playing on parks, there was nothing else to do but play football as a kid. You know, I know it's changed over the years, but, you know, you were lucky if your mum and dad could afford a football. That was just, the kid with the ball was like the ruler of the roost, if you know what I mean. That was just how it was.
It's a really good point.
And when you're younger, I thought a lot of my brother, and we took me everywhere with him, to be fair. So when he was playing, we used to go and play at Chase Water with my dad on a Sunday morning, and it'd just be 20 aside from the kids round wherever they lived. And I think I used to goal lang, my dad used to say, and I think I basically got brought into football through following my brother around, I would have thought.
Well, do you know what? It's interesting because a few people have had this. AD Vivash, which I know you had a watch and you've played against AD, I'm very sure, in your career, but AD sort of said and resonated with him that having an older brother and having those battles and being the younger brother, looking up to him maybe, wanting to get there, played a real part in how he developed. So what's quite interesting when we spoke off camera, but what you're speaking about now is having a brother who was 2 or 3 years older, who was a good player and you're around them. Do you feel that helped you rather than just playing with your
definitely.
own age?
I think, being 3 years younger, and my brother played in some good. I think one of his first teams was Selby, which Tony Daly played for.
Right. Okay.
So, as a youngster, you'd always go and watch, and he was involved in really good teams at a young age. And I think you learn, and I think it's the best. My son Vinny's had it with his older brother. Steve is older than Vinny. I think when you've got an older sibling that you look up to and takes you everywhere, and you're playing football all the time, I feel it's the best thing you can have to learn the game is playing with older kids.
I always remember when we were starting different things, and obviously people do a lot of additional training nowadays, which can be good. Obviously, I'm not saying that's not a good thing, but I'll never forget, because obviously Vinny's a talented player, and talent's only one of the ingredients. But he is a talented player. And I always remember speaking to you when they got to about 11 or 12, and some of them were doing additional training outside of team training, maybe even academy stuff. And you were like, nah, I'll get him to go and play with his brother's team because he'll have to move the ball and he can't do this. And now maybe subconsciously that's from your own journey, because I remember you telling me that Vinny at 12 was playing with, what's the gauge gap with him and Stephen?
Vinny's 18, so he's probably about 7 or 8 years.
So you were letting him go and play with much older boys.
Much older boys.
Move it or get kicked work it out.
Yeah, because I think sometimes you can get into bad habits, which at a young age. Now, my journey with my son is completely different to somebody else's journey. My dad was really harsh on me. Sometimes when we were both playing as kids, me and my brother, I'd play on a Sunday morning, my brother would play on a Sunday afternoon, you'd be eating your dinner around the table after. If I had a bad game, my brother had a bad game, I'd fall out with my dad on the morning, my brother would fall out with him on the afternoon. You sit there eating your Sunday dinner, nobody talking. That was just how it was. Do you know what I mean?
You know what? I mean, I'm not condoning. We've had, speaking to a guy today, we had this is under 7 football. Another team had to have a parent escorted away, got that animated and into the game. I remember seeing a podcast with Carl Walker not too long ago where he said, look, my dad was my harshest critic. And when I look back, a lot of the former players would go down that route. I think Heidi went down that route. My dad actually wasn't too bad. But I've been around people. As much as we'd say, we don't want that, do you think sometimes that it creates an edge for players if they're parents, or do you think it's got to be a balance?
I think now there's got to be more of a balance. I think you've obviously got to give credit where credit is due, but also there isn't anything wrong with telling somebody that isn't good enough, whether it be effort, whether it be commitment, and really, as a parent, that is all I ask for off all of my kids, whether it be my eldest son Steve. If I'm going to take the time myself as your father to take you somewhere, the least you can do is run around. You might not have the best game, you might not do this, you might not do that, but you know what? Commitment is everything. But that's only how we were brought up. Yeah. Because, we weren't from a wealthy family. Mum was working, dad was working. Mum and dad was never around. Kids' holidays, you were on your own. Me and my brother, it was like, get out of the house. Do you know what? Go and football was the only thing. So with
now how it's changed a little bit, and obviously social media and lifestyle's a little bit different, but what you're saying there as well, obviously you're saying you had that grounding of commitment and your dad would expect nothing less when you were starting, but also you really didn't have any other distractions.
And you can't blame the kids for that. Now Xboxes, PlayStations, YouTube, Instagram, it's not their fault, but I think Steven Gerrard always goes on about, which is what I say to my son all the time, you've got to be obsessed. You've got to, I know you're playing with your teammates at the minute, but you've got to run all over them as well. Because it's a dog-eat-dog game. That is just how it is.
Keep it, because I've always, obviously, we've pretty much always spoke, Vinny, and it was really nice when we started to look in how good your career was, and obviously as a youth. So you were clearly obsessed.
Yeah.
When did you get your first teams? When did you start to realise, I've asked Cookie, and this is no form of arrogance, but you know what, for my age I'm pretty good. When did you start playing and when did you start to climb through the ranks?
I think Carlisle was my first club at under 10s. Carlisle, which so I think I had, and like we were speaking yesterday, weren't we, about there was no half pitches, there was no 5-a-side pitches, it was full size pitches. And I think I said to you yesterday, my first cup final for Carlisle at under 10 was at Oak Park on a full-size pitch.
Which is the size of the whole pitch. To think we've got 10 sessions running now on here, you're only a couple of years older than some of them playing this whole pitch. Full-size
goals, 11v11. And it was only 11v11. I think you used to get one pre-season tournament that was 5-a-side, but everything was 11v11. And that was just it.
Do you think, because you've watched it, I mean, Cookie, interestingly, I think he doesn't like some of the smaller sided stuff. I'm saying Cookie, sorry, if anyone's... Stephen Cook, who did our first ever podcast, I think he's a very thoughtful coach. He was obviously a high-level player. I think to get more kids on the ball and playing, I do see the benefit in small-sided. I think they hold on to it a bit too long sometimes. Yeah. And I'm really worried about this 3v3 format for next year. Yeah. So under 7s, they're 3v3. But just from your experience, you've played it like us, where it's a big pitch, and then you've seen Vinny come in at 5v5, 7v7. Do you feel that's worked?
I feel... what I did with Vinny was I always used to try, in my own head, to play him at his own age group. And let's say it was going from 5-a-side to 7-a-side, I'd always try him the age above on the following day. So he's getting a bit of both. So when he comes to the following year and he's just 7-a-side, he's already done a season playing 7-a-side at a year up. So I always try to not get him in front of the game, but try and get him to do his own age group on a Saturday and a year up on a Sunday, or either way. So he's getting 5-a-side, plenty of touches, and then 7-a-side on bigger pitches, more room.
And he's probably getting a balance of success and struggle.
Yeah.
Because going against the older
players. And listen, and I would say this to any parent out there: test your kid, test them. If they're the best player in the team, go and test them the year up, because they will learn more. They'll learn more playing a year up and losing than they will winning at their own age group. That's just my belief.
So did you play up? Or was
I don't think
you played with your brother, but when you were...
I think we used to enter cup competitions a year up, but you couldn't do that then at our age group. So I think you were 14, 15, and you'd always go and play the cup competitions a year up.
And you couldn't have signed... Now, you've showed them me, and we won't put them on the pod. I don't know if I sent them to Pete, and he can clip it, but I love those old letters. So you said that your dad wouldn't let you sign. So you're playing like Carlisle when you moved to the Mighty Forest Star.
I moved to the Mighty Forest Star, I think under 12, Bill Jones.
Yeah. And you'd have played schoolboys, I'm sure.
Yeah, then schoolboys, then county, yeah.
But you couldn't go till about 14 at your age, I think.
I think 14, 15, yeah.
But you went to Man U on trial, Liverpool.
Yeah, every kid's holiday, which I want. At the time, this is where I get what I get from my father and my mother, because, if my dad was taking me, my mum was taking my brother if the games clashed, and vice versa. And every school holiday, I would be at a different club. I'd have a week at Man United, and then I'd go a week at Liverpool, and then I'd go and have a week in Arsenal. And then from 14 to 16, I just felt like I was always carrying the bag.
Did you grow up in Pelsall?
Grew up in Pelsall.
So was that surreal? You'd go to Chelsea, Arsenal, and you'd be back on Pelsall Common kicking the ball?
I don't think I laugh now because I said to Vinnie and Stevie the other day, I went, at 14, my dad put me on a train at Birmingham New Street. No mobile phones, nothing. Just said to me, when you get to Euston, there'll be a bloke waiting for you with your name on a card. Got on the train at 14, 15, walked straight. I got out at Euston Station, which was packed. I mean, it's manic now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Got off the train, walked straight past the bloke that was there because I didn't know what I was looking for. And then I went to a call box to ring my dad and go in. I'm in the middle of New Street Station here. I can't find anyone.
Isn't it, man? Do you know what? Just to digress, what's nice as well, speaking, and the reason, as you know, I think I've explained, playground and Premiership, playground to Premiership. It's not tongue-in-cheek, but we're trying to say that everyone's map and everyone's journey is different.
Completely different.
And if you look at it now, we've got two players who would have played League One and Champ, very close in proximity to where they grew up, but Skip kind of didn't play any academy football really.
Skip was my brother's age.
Right.
They used to play in the same district team together, yeah.
But then you're going everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's a different journey for lots of people, isn't it?
Different journey, yeah.
So we've mentioned your brother a couple of times. So you've gone to different places, but your parents, and we're going to get to that, hold that, because I think you made a really important point about people need to understand that this journey is not just the players.
Yeah.
There's a parent, there's a family journey that people go on, and you've seen that now.
Yeah.
But for your mum and dad then, Sean's 3 years older and he's playing at Sheffield?
He left, I think he went to West Brom on a 2-year scholar. My brother got released the same day as Steve Bull got released from the Albion. Right. I think Bully went in first, I think.
What was the bigger mistake?
Carlton Palmer was in the youth team. My brother. Right. So even at that age, when my brother's probably 16, 17, I'm 13, 14, I'm hanging around Spring Road with my brother, watching them train.
Right.
And getting involved as well. Nobby Stiles was the youth team coach. And he used to say to me, it wouldn't happen now. He used to say, come on, son, come and join me.
Are you joining me?
Yeah, I'll join in.
I think you could have the best name drops, on the podcast.
I know a name drop. But
I don't mean it like that.
It's interesting.
I meant it, Steve, in the sense of how that's just like, come on, lad, come and mix in here.
Come and mix
You'll
in.
play with Steve Bull, can't Palm, and Nobby Stiles is playing.
So even at 13, 14, because the youth team games used to be on a Saturday, it's, I used to walk in the dressing room at times and see my brother, and you were never made not to feel welcome. Wayne Dobbins, I remember them all like it was yesterday, welcoming you in, playing head tennis with them when I'm, and I've got my brother to thank for that, because that's a massive learning curve when they were playing reserve games, and I'll go and get on the coach before the left and all that kind of stuff.
So it's clearly, and I don't want to fast track too much. I'm going to come back to the youth stuff. But clearly, I think what's interesting is we talk about sibling role, and I think not always, but clearly the sibling role did have a big effect on your career.
Massive.
Because having a brother 2-3 years older to chase, who was good, environments and stuff, really benefited you.
Yeah.
So why? I've asked you, why Derby? You could have gone anywhere.
I wanted to go to Liverpool because Liverpool was my team. But they offered me scholarships and everything. You know, I used to go training there a lot. I remember Kenny Dalglish, she was my favourite player as a kid, giving me a lift home from training. And it's surreal now because you just sit there thinking, I remember being outside Anfield, waiting for the bus to go to the digs.
Yeah.
Big white Audi A8 pulls up. Kenny Dalglish driving. You starstruck, you know, my hero. I got Kenny Dalglish wallpaper. And it would never happen nowadays.
And that nice though.
This is what, you know, those years of growing up, and he went, where are you going? I went, whatever, well, I'll give you a lift. And I can remember stopping at the traffic lights and kids walking across going, oh, that's Kenny Dalglish. You know, when you're sitting there as a kid going, I can't believe I'm in Kenny Dalglish's car.
What age are you here?
Probably 14, 15.
Yeah, they'd say you're not allowed in the car.
Yeah, this is what I'm trying to say. But, you know,
it?
that was how clubs were then.
I was speaking to a kid here. He's one of the coaches out there. He's gone on loan to non-league. He's not allowed in the group chat. They've said because he's 17. No, I was like, oh God, but he's playing men's football. Look, it digress. I think that's lovely. So you wanted Liverpool.
I wanted Liverpool.
Why did Dad want Derby then?
My dad. To be fair, it came down to Wolves and Derby. Wolves were lower league, though I think they were in possibly League Two then. Mm-hmm. Ron Dukes was, you probably know, right? I don't know if you do.
He released me. I don't like him. No, I know he was. I'd take that back. But, a lot of people, an amazing scout.
Because theoretically,
locally,
I went from Carlisle to Forest Star. Then at 14, 15, there was a team called Dovedale Dynamos that was run by Tony Painter, who was the head scout for Wolves. So basically, what Tony did was he went all round the Midlands and cherry picked the lads he thought.
Try and
so basically, out of my team from 14 to 16, all 15 of us got took on by a club. 8 of them got took on by Wolves. Me, Chris Slewanock, whose dad played at Villa, went to Derby. So out of all that team, everybody got took on by a club.
And look, Derby's always been a huge club. But back in the day when you went there, we're talking like a top 5, 10, what would be Premier League club now.
Premier League,
People, like you said, the ilk of Shilton there, Saunders, Mark Wright at the back.
Yeah.
So this would be where you start to get England recognition.
So basically, I can remember having meetings with Graham Turner, was the manager at Wolves at the time. And if I'm honest with you, and I'll say this honestly, Arthur Cox scared me into signing for Derby because I was scared of him. I can remember it because I saw Wolves first, and then I can remember sitting with my dad was there. And anybody who knows anything about Arthur Cox, I know a lot of the kids won't know who he was, but he was like the strictest, most sergeant majorist person ever. And I can remember sitting in his office at 16, and I've got to decide then. And he went, well, what are you doing then, son? He went, I'll leave you in here with your dad for a minute, and I'll come back. And I can remember saying to him, and I wanted to say, Dad, I want to go to Wolves. But I was that scared of him walking back in and going, I want to go to the Wolves. I just says, I'll sign for Derby. And that's what I did. So I ended up...
So did you get picked for England?
No, not then. So basically...
And for anyone who remembers, we'll get to that, but I always automatically thought your career was a centre midfielder, a creative centre mid who could get about... No, you tell me at this point you're a striker or a 10?
Striker, centre forward, 4-4-2, because everybody was. So my first year, I signed a pro at 17, but my first year scholar, as you call it, I played up front all that season. I think I scored about 18, 19 goals, playing the year below, really, isn't it? If you know what I mean. And then the following season, I remember this vividly. I think I just turned 17. I'd started really well as probably too easy for me because I think I got about 12 goals in the first 4 games or something like that. And I remember playing a game for the youth team on the Saturday, and then coming in for the reserve game on the Tuesday against Everton, just to do the boots and lay the kit out as what we always did. And I think one Craig Ramage's name was, a good friend of mine, got injured in the war, not the warm, but got injured in training on the morning. So I've come in to lay the kit out and everything. And Roy McFarlane, who's the reserve team manager, gone. So I think I put the number 10 on, put the number 10 up, and he went, "You're wearing that tonight." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He went, "You're starting." And I'm thinking, okay, number 10 up front. Nervous, because it's a reserve. And this is when reserves were full of first teamers. Neville Southall was in goal, and it'd be all the players that were coming back from injury, experienced pros. So I'm thinking, number 10 up front then. Nervous, and then he went centre midfield. I'd never played centre midfield, ever. So I went out there, and I think it helped me being thrown in last minute, because I hadn't got time to get nervous, I hadn't got time to... And to be fair, I did really, really well. Really, really well. Played, I think we won 1-0. And then I came in on the Friday to train, thinking of back playing in the youth team on the Saturday. And then my name was in the first team squad for Arsenal at home on the Saturday.
And what age are you here?
17, just turned 17.
And so in the equivalent now, you made your Premier League debut.
Yeah, theoretically. I know it was the first division.
But it is Premier League.
Yeah.
At 17.
17.
Against Arsenal,
who I think had won the league the year before they beat Liverpool in that last game of the season. So they were league winners, if you know what I mean. And then, so basically, which I don't think it'll happen now, I went youth team, reserve team, first team in a week. And this is where it's about taking your opportunity.
Yeah.
Through injury. If Craig Ramage hadn't got injured, I wouldn't have maybe... And we spoke about this on the phone. These sliding doors moments in your career that we all get plenty of them, good and bad. And then I think I was sub against Arsenal. Arsenal battered us 3-0. I think the manager threw me on with 10 minutes left as a token gesture. But brilliant for me. As much disappointed as I was that we were losing, I made my first division debut against, the league winners. Did really well, even though I suppose Arsenal... But, when you come off the pitch thinking, well, I'm spraying it here. I don't know what... But obviously they'd sat back. They were 3-0 up 10 minutes. And then the following Saturday, we got Chelsea away. And I was sub. These are the days when there's only one sub. I mean, my kids laugh now because it's like American football, isn't it? You can change a whole team, can't you? Yeah. This is one sub. So I think obviously I'd done well. And the next week I was sub against Chelsea. And at half time, Nick Pickering broke his toe. And the manager went, "You're on." Helped me again, having no time to... And came on and did really, really well again. And I'm sitting there thinking... I look back now thinking how naive I was. I'm sitting there thinking... I'm in. This is not easy, if you know. Because, I mean, to be fair, in the first 10 minutes of me coming on, John Bumstead did me with an elbow. The old classic, naive, going up without your elbows in. Straight in my eye. I can remember lying on the floor. Mick Hartford, who was at Derby Centre forward, come over and went, "Who did that to you?" And he went, "It was him." And he went, Watch what I do to him." And, mate, within 10 minutes... The ball was the other end of the pitch, and John Bumstead was just lying on the...
Changed,
it has changed, mate. But that was how it was. And I think we drew 1-1. Did really well for half a game. I can remember coming on the coach after, and the manager said to me, "You don't be talking to the press. Don't be talking to the press." I'm thinking, and that then gives you think, oh, maybe my career's going somewhere now.
Yeah. Had you played England by this point?
No, and I think that then put me on the... Because, I mean, with all due respect then, Wayne, I think the bigger clubs got... How it is now, I don't know, but the bigger clubs had... A lot of the England players, like Tottenham, Chelsea...
Yeah.
That kind of way, do you know what I mean? And I think then... Because I laugh, because then I think we had an England trip in that week, and I can remember going to the hotel, Jamie Redknapp, Andy Cole, Ian Walker... And I can remember being sat around a table and they're saying to me, I mean, none of us were anybody then. Yeah. And I can remember saying to me, "Well, what's it like then being in the first team? What's it like getting changed?" Because I was the first one to break in.
So all of that squad, Andy Cole hadn't
really done anything. We were all 17, young kids really. Jamie Redknapp, Lee Clark. We were all sat there and they're going to me. I mean, you look at the careers that they went on to have, but at that time they were saying to me, "Well, what's it like being in the first? What's it like when you make you..." And I'm going, well... And I sat there thinking, I was a bit flippant really, because my career like that was just going like that. And I remember the week it changed was the following week. Because that game, we got a win. We played at Portsmouth Ground Park, and we got a win to go through to the Euros. And it was 0-0 in the last minute. And we got a free kick last minute. Somebody rolled it to me and I smashed it in the top corner. We qualified for the Euros for England.
Oh, God.
So my career then was... I'm thinking it's like that, and it changed within 2 or 3 days because then I made my full debut against Coventry away. Cyril Regis, Brian Kilcline, Mickey Jim. They've won the FA Cup a couple of years. Great side. And I can remember the team meeting in the hotel before when you're having pre-match, sitting there, and the man Arthur's reading the team, and he's going, Chilton in goal, Mel Sage right back, Mark Wright centre half, Mickey Forsyth left back, and I can remember being at the back of the room thinking, I'm sub again here, not bothered because I'm involved. Do you know what I mean? And he went, and I can remember saying, and today I'm playing somebody that I don't like, and I'm looking around the room thinking, who don't you like in here? Do you know what I mean? And then he went, son, pointed, because he was like a bit like Brian Clough afterwards. Okay. He was a bit like, son, are your mum and dad coming to the game today? I went, I'm like that. Yes, boss. Yeah, they are. Yeah. He went, how embarrassing would it be if I had to take you off after half an hour because you're not running around? And I went, I didn't even know what to say. He went, so get out there and run around. Because he was harsh on me because I was a bit of a flair player. He liked people that would run around, tackle. I wasn't like that really, especially from a centre forward coming into a central midfield. And I can remember playing against Mickey Ginn and David Speedy. I never got a kick. I think I got bought off after about 70 minutes. And that was my first slap round the face of going, this is real professional football. Yeah. That rise that I was on, all of a sudden went like that.
But you know what? I mean, to put it, just to reflect on a few things there is, I think what's good is you've said there, like, opportunities sort of came quickly. Mm-hmm. And you've talked about sliding doors. I know that other people have on there, but it's really important because obviously luck does play a part, doesn't it? Massively. As much as all the other variables have been really good and different things, luck and opportunity is something that's just shining out on these podcasts. And the point of when you get it, take it.
Yeah.
So obviously, in fairness to you, you've been given opportunities young.
Yeah.
And you've just scoring 20-yarder for England in the Euros, coming on, not understanding like you were even going to play, and then you've played well. So obviously, I think that's really key for a lot of parents and a lot of people to be ready.
Yeah.
Be ready, and when you get your chance, take it to the best you can.
The best you can, yeah.
In terms, I've got to do it because it's here and I love it. So in terms of the Euros then, you've got picked. Talk us through these and what they are.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I didn't realise this because my father passed away about 5-6 years ago. So my first England appearance was against France away. And obviously after I think we drew 0-0. We drew 0-0. Played quite well. Manager was really pleased. And obviously I exchanged shirts with somebody that obviously, didn't know who he was, obviously didn't know who I was. And then it wasn't until probably about my dad passed away, and in his safe was the programme from the game. And then when I've looked at the programme, it is actually Zinedine Zidane's shirt, which is like, wow.
Zinedine Zidane has landed at Rushall Olympic and A's. Yeah. So I think that's I mean, obviously you've got your cap, which is treasured.
Yeah.
And you've got to get this stuff framed. But on the playground to Premiership, we're not even going Premiership now, Pete. We've gone further than that. Arguably 100% top 10 ever. And for you, and I think you played against some other memorable names, but in the Euros, you showed me that programme. I think Christophe Dugarry was in that squad. Yeah. Obviously, Zinedine Zidane you've played against. You went on to play Figo, did you?
Figo was in the Portugal World Cup, I think it was 1990. So I would have played in that era. I think I played England 17s, 18s, 19s. Possibly against...
And a midfielder now.
Midfielder now. Which was a great experience. But I laugh because we were a long ball team with England. I can remember we got a manager called David Burnside that used to be a good footballer at West Brom. And basically what he used to do was get the keeper to throw it to the right back, and the right back would launch it on the diagonal. We've got a big centre forward, Aidan Newhouse, who used to play football with Andy Cole. And we must have been the most direct team ever. And I can remember once I lost my place in the England thing for this, because I can remember we played a game and I think in midfield I didn't have a touch of the ball, and I'm going, how can we keep playing like this? And I think the manager came round after and went, I want your thoughts, because I don't think we'd scored. I think we didn't get out of the group, and I think we drew the game 0-0, and didn't qualify, didn't score. So at the inquest after, I can remember I was probably a bit too arrogant, because I said to him, we're never going to score playing like this. This is like stepping back in time. as ball play. I mean, we've got Jamie Redknapp in midfield, we've got Lee Clark in midfield, we've got ball playing midfielders, and all we were doing was running forward and running back.
But then it's changed a little bit now, hasn't it?
I mean, to be honest with you, as much I wish I was playing now, no tackling, or very limited tackling, so much time on the ball. And I say this, the great players of yesteryear would easily play today.
Yeah, because I like say pitch quality,
time quality.
Think about the tackles probably were putting on you and you put them in. Yeah. Back in the day, it was much different.
Oh, I mean, you know, now in my day, it was from the kick-off, roll the ball back to the centre-half. Centre-half would hang it in the corner, and the centre-forward and the centre-half would be in. It was like who could give somebody 6 stitches.
So keep it to, obviously, with Derby. Did you play how many games? Why did you move to Carlisle?
Well, what happened was, I got in the team early at Derby. Then what killed me at Derby is Lionel Pickering came and bought the club.
Right.
I would have been about 18, 19 at the time. And it was really one of the first big takeovers of a club. And then I was the kid that was 18, 19. And then didn't matter how I played, whether I played well, whether I played bad. As soon, because they went out and bought Paul Kitson, 2.5 million. I mean, 2.5 million is like pittance nowadays. But you've got to remember in them days, Paul Kitson 2.5, Craig Short 2.5 million, Tommy Johnson, Gary Charles, Darren Wassell, Martin Cole, John Arks. Yeah. And as the kid, you'd always push back to the back of the queue. Play well or play not. If you lost, it was your fault. And if you played well, there was somebody always... So I stayed at Derby possibly 3 years longer than what I should have done.
Right.
But it was at the time where the club had got control over you. Yeah. I mean, I can remember going in for my contract at Derby. Now, considering I got in the first team at 17, I can remember walking in to discuss my next contract and thinking... And I know people don't like talking money, but I'd have been on about 250 quid a week signing my first pro. In the late 80s was good money, $5,000 signing on fee, which is not a lot now, obviously, to what they're earning. But at the time, it was everything. And then I can remember going thinking, you know what, I reckon I'm going to ask for about 600 quid a week, 700 quid a week. And I remember walking in the big office and half the box and because this was the time that could hold your registration for 2 years if you didn't sign it.
All right.
So it pushed me.
You had an agent?
No, not then.
It wasn't that.
They weren't really around.
Wasn't that type of world?
No, it wasn't. And the managers wouldn't speak to them because in those days the club had got all the power. You know, you either and it pushed me the contract. And I think if I was on 250 quid a week, I got in the first team at 17. I was at England Youth, and I think I got offered £25 more a week than what I was already on. And he just slung me on the table like that and went, you might as well sign that. I went, what do you mean? He went, because if you don't sign it, we'll just hold your registration for 2 years and not play you.
So it petered out at Derby?
Petered out, yeah. Wayne, I should have left Derby at 22. I think I left at 24, 25.
So because we could have some Carlisle fans come and be interested with the podcast. How long did you stay quickly at Carlisle and talk about the memorable ending?
Carlisle... Mick Wadsworth was the manager at Carlisle, who was my England youth team assistant coach, so he knew me from growing up with England youth. Carlisle had been taken over by Michael Knighton at the time. That was the guy that nearly bought
the United
Man United.
Guy with the kick-ups.
Yeah, who nearly bought Man United for pittance.
Yeah.
Clever bloke. So he bought Carlisle, and at that time, Carlisle were probably 12 points clear in League Two.
Right.
And this would have been...
So it's League Two, League One now?
League One. Okay. So they were about 12 points clear. Good crowds, 15,000, 16,000. Looked like a club that if they got on that run, could go somewhere. So that I think the fee was about £150,000. And I can remember driving to Carlisle. I didn't know where Carlisle was.
You were driving for a while.
Oh, mate, honestly. No, I can remember getting past Blackpool thinking, where is this place? It's another hour and a half from Blackpool, isn't it? And I went up there thinking, at 24, 25, I played like Championship because Derby got relegated and got back up and and I'm thinking, I'm going to come here and like boss it. People do not realise how difficult the lower leagues are. Mm. And I think I watched the overlap last week with Paul Merson, and I believe this: the higher up you go, the easier it is to play. The lower you go, the harder it is to play.
Do you know what? I mean, it's resonant to me. I've said to people before, I got a game. This is as high as I got, but I got to play Watford in League One where it was a bit like you have it, we have it on Vicarage Road. And I never remember, fast forward 18 months, I was playing right at the bottom of League Two, away at Lincoln for Shrewsbury. And it was a different game. It was so hard. And I always said to everybody, you think I should be bossing this?
Yeah.
That game, like Kevin Phillips was playing for Watford then, but I totally agree. I'll tell you what I think, and this is not to be bad. I think if you can play, I think for some people it's a leveler.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And people,
Yeah.
because that's what the game was then. But I think especially if you're trying to be a creative force in midfield or different bits, and the lower you go, it can be really tough, can't it?
So tough. And I can remember signing, and my first game, I'll never forget it, because I think I knew I was going to Carlisle, and they played the first leg of I think it was the auto windscreens then, I'm not sure, I know it's been named a few times since, and they played the first leg at home against Rochdale in the semi-final, and they won 4-1. And I signed, and the second leg was obviously at Rochdale away on a Tuesday night. Carlisle were 4-1 up. And I can remember Mick, and now I'd only played reserve team football, and I can remember Mick, the manager, going to me, right, I'm going to play you tomorrow. I thought, boss, are you sure? I said, listen, I think I'd just come back from a groin operation, so I wasn't 100% fit. He went, no, you'll be fine. 4-1 up, just want you to get your foot on the ball and dictate play. So I'm like, okay, 4-1 up, what's the worst that can happen? Carlisle, there must have been 8,000 Carlisle fans because they were a brilliantly supported club. 4-1 up, everyone's there for a party. The first 15 minutes, mate, Rochdale, it was like the Alamo. They scored after 2 minutes, which made it 4-2. They were up for it. Then all of a sudden you start thinking 4-2. If they get another one, I can remember Dean Walling clear one off the line. They hit the bar, and I'm running around thinking, what is this? This isn't even football. This is just like long throws. And I think Derek Mountfield scored just before half time that killed the game. It made it 5. Yeah, Derek Mountfield. I think it was the season before he came to Warsaw. Yeah. He scored just before half time that really killed the game, took the sting out of them. Yeah. And I think we ended up winning, what was it, 5-2 on aggregate.
Keep it relevant to now. One thing that's interesting, which I'm just from that, is obviously football now, and you're with Vinnie.
Yeah.
You if you've been at the different academies, that they're playing on carpets, and it's you have it, we have it, and all these different bits. And what I've found really interesting is what you're saying. Look, that top level, whatever percent get there, but for a lot of them, I can remember not too long ago, a friend of mine who's an agent said he's got a centre back playing at Cat 1, under 23s or whatever that is. Yeah. And he ends up getting loaned, I think I'm right in saying, to a League Two club. And in the game he'd played before that, he'd only had one header in the first half, which was an attacking header. But when he'd gone on loan to League Two, he'd come off at half time with 14 defensive headers. And he didn't know what it was, because it was a different world. Yes. So I think what you're saying is, like, especially if we just bring it to the kids who are playing at the high level, there's different levels to football, and you've got to be ready to cope for it.
Yes.
Because that's what you're saying from your journey. I resonated with it, and that's what my friend said, that when you come lower down, it's a bit of a different game sometimes. Completely. And look, if you want to be a footballer, you've got to be able to adapt to that. Yeah,
you have. Because like people are paying the mortgages. It's not like Premier League where, 50, 60, 70, 80 grand a week. You go to them lower leagues. It's a bit different now, because I think the lower leagues, when I was playing...
I think people probably, in fairness, and rightly or wrongly, and we're talking on kids stuff, but people try to replicate, don't they now? More the top level, the lower you go. So certain standards are probably better.
Yeah.
But what my point is, which I think you'll agree with, is like our boys, anybody else, at that high level, not everyone will get there. And if you want a career, whether it's playing pro lower down or non-league, you're going to have to be adaptable.
You're going to,
you have to be resilient, because that game's different, and it can shock you, can't it?
It can. It shocked me. I was 25, and I know it was a long time ago, but I can remember. And to be fair, for the first 6 months at Carlisle, I really struggled. Now, I was playing in a team that was 12 points clear, but football-wise, I was like, I can't even get a kick of the ball.
Yeah.
People in you. Now, you see, they're thinking, the pitches were poor, so you were trying to read the bobble and not the ball, if you know what I mean. And that sounds crazy, but if you're a passer,
Yeah.
You're having to wait for that ball to hit the floor so you can strike because
So how long did you stay there to culminate in the memorable moment to finish?
Well, I mean, to be fair, when you look at it, I had 2.5 seasons at Carlisle and we won the league, even though I jumped on the bandwagon because there were 12 points clear first season. We got to Wembley for the auto windscreen final against Birmingham, the end of that season.
So the Blue Noses.
So the Blue Noses, yeah, I love that. First golden goal cup final, I think it was, Paul Tate.
Right.
So we went to...
I mean, you said it was like 70 odd.
76. I mean, if you want somebody, because Birmingham, I think, were League One then, you know, and I think that tournament was for League One and League Two. If you wanted to play somebody at Wembley in that cup, it was Blues because they were the biggest team. So I think there were 50,000 Blues fans and 26,000 Carlisle fans. Carlisle's first ever Wembley appearance. And I know we lost.
Some travel as well, isn't it?
Yeah, some travel.
But you went back the next year.
But we lost that on the golden goal. First golden goal Paul Tate scored. And then what happened was we got relegated. The team turned into a shambles, really, because it had gone from winning everything. Then you see a dressing room turn from a bunch of honest players to a team that has done really well, and all the conversation in the dressing room is about money and contracts.
Right.
And I saw that turn from kids that had grown. Now, they had a lot of homegrown kids there. Then all of a sudden, the talk isn't about football. It was a talk of the chairman having them over with a contract, and then all of a sudden you see how a demise of a team can happen when money becomes involved.
Okay.
So then the manager, Mick Wadsworth, went, I think, to go assistant manager at Norwich towards the end of the season, and we ended up crazy relegation, really, because we went to the last game of the season, won, stayed up, and I think it was Brighton and somebody else. The game got abandoned with 5 minutes left. And they made them replay the game. I'm not sure it was Brighton and Hull or someone like that. We won our last game of the season, and the team that we needed to lose was losing with 3 minutes left. And I think there was a crowd pitch invasion, and they abandoned the game, so the game never finished. And what the FA did, they made them replay the game, and the team that was winning had released all their players, or a lot of the players from the team that had started on the Saturday, and I think the team we needed to lose went and won the replay game, but the team had released half their players, and you think, that's correct. So we ended up getting relegated, and then I was going to go that season. I was going to leave because I wasn't playing, and this is when you talk about sliding doors moments again. Yeah. Mervyn Day ended up getting the job, and I've been and taught with Andy King at Chester. Yeah, it was Chester. And I was going to sign. I thought, I don't fancy moving again. And then I went back. The manager moved to Norwich, and Mervyn took over and went, I want to build my team around you. And there's another sliding doors moment.
Yeah.
Made me captain straight away. And then we were one of the first teams to play three at the back and play out from the back. Carlisle's pitch was brilliant. Massive. I don't know if you played there. It's a brilliant football
only
pitch.
Outfield goal in the
Is
league. As a penalty.
Yeah.
But it was a big pitch. Yeah.
Big pitch. Played
just one on youth football, which we've spoke about. But the key point there is you need someone to believe in you, don't you? And it doesn't matter if you turn around and it's under 8.
What age group?
Kids need
your
players.
Relationship with
all
your coach,
players, as much as they want to. You need a coach who'll go and hang his hat on you.
No matter who they, I've watched your podcast. I've watched loads. You speak about honest football players, and like I think we had the conversation earlier. I truly believe that 97% of players are literally, or good players are literally not too distant from each other. You'll get the top 1 or 2% that are the top 1 or 2%, and they're the ones that take the team where it needs to get to. But people need a coach to believe in them or a manager to believe in them.
So Mervyn was definitely that for you?
Yeah, definitely that for me. Played the game the right way. I had a brilliant season, was captain. I think I got about 13 or 14 goals that season, was flying. We ended up getting promoted, and then we ended up getting to the Auto Windscreen Cup final again the end of the season. We played Colchester. I think there was 56,000. It wasn't quite the atmosphere of Birmingham, but brilliant for me as captain. Leading the team out, and then obviously the game ended up going to penalties, and I ended up scoring the winning penalty from thinking I wasn't.
Was that your last kick?
That was my last kick of the ball for Carlisle.
So it's definitely a memorable.
Yeah, brilliant. And it was at the Carlisle end, and they are fantastic. For me, the travel everywhere. You think? I mean, sometimes we used to leave.
I tried to find it on YouTube. Did you bury it? I can't see. I can't see.
I put it. You know what? The keeper.
He didn't get his hand on
I always went the other side. Now, don't forget, we missed our third one.
Oh, right.
So with 2 left, if they scored their last 2, they would win. I was last penalty. I didn't think I was even going to get a chance to take one because they buried their first 3. So I can remember they missed their 4th. We scored our 4th and they missed their 5th. So I'm thinking, I'm not taking one. And in the next breath, I'm taking the one to win. And I can remember Warren Aspinall coming up to me because I used to go to the keeper's left normally. And he went, the keeper can't dive to his right. So I changed my mind, which I never do. And to be fair, I hit it low. It wasn't a great penalty, but he couldn't. If it had been as good on his left, he'd have saved it. But it ended up going.
But do you know what's make a few points there? Is like, can you? I mean, I've took penalties at much lesser level than that, but can you remember all that, or was you in the bubble of the game? Because you're talking about taking a penalty, a winning penalty, 50-odd thousand at Wembley, but was you calm moving up, or was it all a blur?
It was a bit. I think the time because I thought we'd lost. I thought with 2 penalties left, we'd done, and those 2 penalties just happened like that. Then all of a sudden, the Carlisle crowd are up. And I'm walking, and I can remember thinking, and I think I've watched it back a few times, I can remember putting the ball down and thinking, right, and it does go through your head, don't fall over, it does go, and, the only regret was my dad wasn't there to see it because he was ill at home and he couldn't travel to the match. I'm thinking, in one of my best moments, my brother was there and my mum and all that, but my dad was obviously watching at home because he had an operation. I wish he'd have been there, but, he was there in spirit. I remember just running up to the ball thinking, don't just hit the ball.
Yeah.
And it went in. And I can remember turning around because I still wasn't sure if it was a winning penalty. I can remember turning round, seeing everybody up, and then I think I took my top off, I jumped out. Matt, I can't even remember it. I just run behind the goal.
That's such a memorable, I suppose, moment in your career. And people, right, fast forward, because when I remembered you, when I was at Warsaw, I'd say I was a squad player. But obviously you were part of the Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh, yeah.
That's when I remember. So you were part of the Fulham era that Al Fayed owned the club. So you moved to Fulham.
At the end of that season, my contract was up at Carlisle. They didn't offer me a great contract. It wasn't the season that I'd had. And I can remember going away on holiday with my family to America. And I was worried why I'm thinking I've had the season of my life. The phone ain't ringing. Coming back thinking, well, I might have to go back to Carlisle, swallow my pride and sign for what I thought I'd deserve more. And I can remember being away and reading in the paper that Al Fayed had just took over Fulham because Carlisle and Fulham got promoted in the same season. Mickey Adams was the manager. I think the season before they finished 91st out of 92. So he saved them from going out of the league. And then the following season, he got them up. I thought, bloody Al Fayed's took over the club, do you know what I mean? And then I got back and my agent rang me. He went, I had Mickey Adams on the phone. Wants you to go down tomorrow. So we drove down to Fulham.
Did you run?
I was like, wow, London. Sceptical way,
okay.
24, 25. Went down there, saw Mickey, great guy, Mickey's honest as a day.
I have met him,
Yeah, calls it as it is, tough. And I remember sitting with him and he go, what do you want? And my agent told him what we wanted and we was happy with the deal. And I can remember him saying, Steve, just to let you know, I probably won't be here long. He said, because I'm not a big enough name. He said, but, I want to give it a go. They can't sack me because I've got him promoted. Fans love Mickey because obviously what he'd done for the club.
Yeah.
And I think we got about 10 games in, was in the playoffs, and they ended up getting rid of him. And then Ray Wilkins come in as manager with Kevin Keegan as director of football.
And so would that be the season, is that 97, 98? I think 98, 99 is the year you got 100 points.
Yeah.
And so, you got promoted in Walsall Cup behind you. And just for people on because obviously Fulham, most of the kids would just know Fulham as a Premiership club.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Fulham.
But at that time, which is equivalent of League One now.
Yeah.
You had 3 Welsh internationals playing at the back. You had Lee Clark was
ended
there.
Up being
Paul
crazy
Bracewell. Louis Sahar there.
Well, through those years, I mean, we got in that season, we got to the playoffs and we got beat by Grimsby. over 2 legs on away goal. Went out on away
That's
goal.
the season.
That's the first
Yeah,
season.
yeah.
And then what happened was, I spoke about this the other day with you. We got knocked out in the playoffs. Obviously, wasn't good enough for Al Fayed because he wanted to. So basically, what happened was they ended up sacking Ray, and then Kevin Keegan took over as the manager.
Right.
And then I can remember in the pre-season, Kevin Keegan called me and said, "Listen, I don't want to let you go." He said, "But we want Jeff Perron at Walsall."
So for the Walsall, I mean, he potentially, Steve, now you mentioned his name, I think he's the best player. I didn't play with as many players as you, but he's the best player I ever played with.
Right, okay.
I
didn't see him because
he was that good. He turned
yeah.
up, him and Roger Bowley, who's Basil Bowley's brother.
Yeah.
It was like, what are they doing here? Paul Taylor needed a medal for that.
But I'd always got that element of me thinking, I don't want to leave Fulham. I want to fight. And I think, we talk about resilience. And I'm sitting there thinking, who would want to leave Fulham at this point? Who's not going to try? And I've got a manager that half wants me, but wants another player. And the deal never failed because of me. I think Jeff turned the move down for whatever reason, whether it be money or whether it just didn't work for him. So I had a phone call off Kevin going, the deal's off. I'm glad I've got you. See you pre-season.
So just as a contrast in terms of management and kids and what we need, obviously Keith Gillespie's been on the Fulham podcast, and he spoke about Kevin in terms of like the best man manager, made you feel 10 foot tall. Was that how it resonated?
Yeah, I mean,
was that the way he was? Yeah. Was he a motivator?
Honestly, he was like a bottle of lemonade. Obviously he's a legend, isn't he? Ballon d'Or winner. Yeah. All I remember as a kid was his and I'm sitting there thinking, I didn't start off in the team. Then you talk about we were always going to win that league. He should have got the sack if we didn't.
Yeah.
We got Mike Taylor in goal, Steve Finnan, 3 Welsh centre halves, Kit Simons, Andy Melville, Chris Coleman, Rufus Brevitt, Steve Finnan. We got Jeff Horsfield, Paul Pesky-Salido. It was like
Bracewell, Clark.
Yeah, Bracewell. Clark hadn't come there. He came the following.
Did you have Peter Beardsley there?
So Peter Beardsley come that season. Philip Albert. Honestly, it was like crazy. But like
against us, Walsall, that's unfair.
You know what? I say this all the time. How well did Walsall do that season to get up?
Yeah, I think. Look, I'll always remember it because I think Walsall were favourites to get relegated this season.
Yeah.
And just to put it into relevance to the modern day people, you've got Keegan, Al Fayed, you've got Fulham, which is obviously a hugely established Premiership club. Below us, who went up in the playoffs, was Man City.
Yeah.
With Joe Royle and some illustrious names.
Yeah.
You've got David Moyes running Preston.
They were a good side.
You've got Tony Pulis, who was a top Premier League manager running Gillingham, who had a lot of money.
Yeah.
Wigan was still a big club then. Stoke were there.
Yeah.
So to think that Walsall had the lowest budget, favourites to get relegated, and that year Ray Graydon won the Manager of the Year over Alex Ferguson. I think he might have won the treble.
Yeah.
And Kevin Keegan.
Crazy.
But in fairness for you, is that like such a memorable time?
It was brilliant because, like I say, I didn't start in the team. Now Kevin might have looked at me and thought, you know what, he won't go away. I didn't start that season in the team. I remember the first game.
Resilience.
So basically, Macclesfield away, we won. Then I think my first game was Man City at home, and I thought, you know what, it's a big call at it. I can't remember it. I think he left Wayne Collins out, who was, they paid $650,000 for. Had a great game. We beat City 3-0. And then I just stayed in, and helped me playing with better players.
You know what, though? What memories for you, like you say, and that could have gone the other way, where you could have been a real bit part or nothing, and you've gone on and played a lot of games that year, didn't you?
Yeah, and I think that's, Wayne, we all have it. Everyone that's been on here, very rarely do you get a career that is constant like that.
I think you said it was interesting. You said you're going to say that. You feel like you had a bit of both.
I feel like in my career that spanned, 16, 17 years, I went through everything. Like, bit of a boy wonder, dropped off maybe big time Charlie, found myself again at Carlisle, went to Fulham, if you know what I mean, read the crest of a wave there, could have left a couple of times. I feel like my career was like a roller coaster. You finished through
injury at Barnes.
Yes, so what happened was, Kevin went and took the England manager's job, part-time to start with. He was running Fulham and England. I mean, we ended up winning the league, record points, I think, at the time. Then he went and took the England job full time. Then Paul Bracewell took over as like a bit player managerish, but more manager than player. Brace was a great player, brilliant player. And then started the following. We signed Lee Clark, Stan Collymore come on loan. I mean, that season under Keegan, we beat Villa in the FA Cup. We beat a lot of Premiership, but we got like
a Premiership squad.
Premiership squad, really. Squad as well, not just team. The squad. And then the following season, Paul come in, and I think Brace was the same. I think we went about like 18, 19 games unbeaten. And the playoffs, that still wasn't good enough for Ralph Fayed. You know, it wasn't good enough to be in the playoffs he wanted to be. Yeah. And then we had, I mean, the managers, so Paul got sacked, I think, towards the end of the season. Then we had Roy Evans came in from Liverpool on a part-time basis with Carlisle United, who was playing at the club at the time. It was obviously a World Cup. So those two, I think, kept the ship till the end of the season. Then obviously we found out that Jean Tigana was coming in as manager.
Yeah.
And then, to be fair, I never really played under him. You know, they bought John Collins. I know, I'm not going to say, I think I was 30 then, Wayne. You know,
and John Collins was
yeah. Louis Saha. That's when the next generation of players. And I knew, and then I was at the time where I hadn't got the time to hang around. I wasn't going to play. I was 30. I wanted to play every week.
But you know what? Just so because I do want to talk. What's nice though, you're talking about highs and lows, and sometimes, like even now, like you've probably had a bit of reflection getting ready for this podcast.
Yeah.
There's so many Steves in places like Pelsall.
Yeah.
And you look at Sean or you look at different journeys, but I'm sure you look back now and think, God, I got to play for England. I played in the equivalent of the Prem. I've scored the last minute penalty at Wembley.
Yeah.
I've got a promotion. I think you met Michael Jackson.
The
person I know who did that.
It's
just amazing to me as we've done this podcast that loads of local people have experienced so much and reach what I'd call their Premiership, which is great. Take it now, which I want to in this bit, which is important. How's that turned? So, if you don't mind me speaking a little bit about Vinny.
Yeah, go on.
So, we've all got kids who play football. Fast forward, I think Stevie played a bit, but I remember getting my first eyes on Vinny. That I think he came out of academy quite young.
Yeah.
And someone said to me, this kid's an unbelievable player, but he's a little bugger.
Yeah.
At that time.
True. Yeah.
And obviously me being me, maybe an ego as a young coach, thought, right, I'm fine, I'll have him. And I learned, I've always said to you, I learned so much about trying to manage Vinny. And it's stuff that I say now to people because I feel like he needed to play free.
Yeah.
I feel like structure wasn't for him. And it wasn't that he was a bad kid all the time, but I think when that structure was too much, that it didn't work for him. So what I have always said to people, and I'm not saying this as Vinny, but I've said you've got to learn to manage your game changers within the game because if you want them to get to the back end and be that free spirit who can play, they don't all love structure. And I think Viv really resonated on that.
Yeah.
So you can see that. You're a dad. I remember him kicking off when he couldn't take a penalty at Derby last year. And you had to walk
I blame you, I do, because you left to come here. I got no choice. But like I say this to everybody, I didn't want to run a kids' team. If you know what I mean.
To ask you, why did you do it?
You was at Carlisle at Pelsall School, weren't you? And you goes, I'm going to go and start my own. And I sat there and thought, and listen, Vinny was hard work as a kid. I mean, when he went to, I think what he did was, he was in at the Albion on the basis of, he went there on like one of those fun days.
Yeah.
With somebody else's kid. I never went. I think I was away working or something like that. And then I can remember getting a phone call saying West Brom want him in.
And is this like real
this
young?
This is 5 or 6 or something like that. And I was like, I thought, I didn't really know what it was all about, Wayne. So I thought, well, you know what? So, but then, like I say, everybody's kid is different. So he went, and I can remember once going, I think there must have been under 6s or under 7s. And the first time he ever hit me, am I doing the right thing here? We met at West Brom's training ground at like 6:30 in the morning. The coach went all the way to West Ham away. That was about 4.5 hours. they had an hour's game in the windiest conditions ever. And I think we got back in the house at 7 o'clock on the night. And I remember sitting there thinking, it's nothing against any academy. I sat there and thinking, we've done an 8-hour round journey for an hour's game of football. I feel, you can't be travelling further than what you actually got time on the ball with. And I can remember at that time,
really good point, yeah.
Sitting there thinking, surely you'd be better at that age for my son and how he was to bring him to a park and give him an hour with the ball at his feet rather than travelling 8 hours, getting back. But that's only my opinion.
So is it you who decided to bring him out?
No, what happened was I can remember, I think I was on a stag do in Liverpool with a friend of mine, and I had a phone call off his mum saying they've released him. Didn't call me in, maybe that's how cutthroat it is. So I can remember having to deal with that situation.
Do you look back now? So obviously I didn't write, because for the people and the viewers, and this is all I can say, because you not say you wouldn't, but clearly no one released him early on talent and ability. Call it ability. Because that was clear for everyone to see. It was probably maybe or more on behaviours. Because I can remember him coming to Carlisle. He used to join I used to do a weekly training thing for Ace back then. Yeah. And didn't matter where we went in to train, they'd come over to me within 15 minutes, if you remember. And they'd be like, who's he? And I used to say, well, his dad's there. But and you took a decision, I think, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, and this is important for the viewers, that I think at 8, 9, 10, 11, Vinnie was getting asked by quite a lot of clubs. And you were saying, just let him play.
Yeah. Did
you take a conscious decision as a parent that you weren't... Because what I've said to people, and I've not had kidding all the way through, but, I've had a couple, that it can become a little bit sterile sometimes for the whole journey.
Yes.
So did you look at it and take the decision that if Vinnie's good enough now, he's going to be good enough at 12, 13, 14.
That's what I thought.
And that would be the time.
And he would be mentally possibly older to cope with what they were asking. Routine suits some.
And before I forget, because we used to battle a bit, you've got to give him he produced a great team, but he went on to play for Craig Marsh. And you played good foot. What was that team?
Yeah. So basically what happened was, I was running Carlisle, and we'd done really... We used to do Saturdays and Sundays, Warsaw League, I think, and then... So basically, we do MJPL on a Saturday, and this is the other social element that really helped Vinnie. We were like a family, because we'd go and play on a Saturday in the MJPL, we'd go back to the cricket club at Aldridge, the parents would all be together drinking, the kids would all be together outside playing. The cricket, but it's brilliant. So every Saturday, all the parents used to get together, and the Walsall Phoenix parents used to be there as well, because it was their home ground.
Oh, was it Walsall Phoenix, and then you played with the Tipton?
Yeah, so what happened was, Colburn ended up finishing because the district became involved for the Sutton lads.
Yeah.
So basically, I think Archie, Alfie, we lost Blake about a week before the season was going to start. We lost 3 of our best players, really. And I tried to keep the team going, but, we were such a good team and I couldn't get the players in quick enough. I thought, it can't go on.
But in terms of the academy bit, I think that it became where he could have, like you said, for you, locally anyway, he probably could have had his pick. At about 14. And it was about 14 you went to the Villa?
But, so what happened was, Wayne, the Marshes, I call them the Marshes, Keith, God bless him, his wife Wendy, Craig, Vicky, Fletch, it was, they really looked after Vinnie as a family unit, which is what I needed at the time as well. Not only did he give him the footballing that he needed, they gave him, that team was a loving club. They used to put up with Vinnie when he kicked off, but we were all of that ilk, and we used to do the same there, trips away. It was like we'd do the same, we'd play on a Sunday morning, we'd all be in the and it gave Vinnie that,
and that's what Vinnie needed.
That's what Vinnie needed at that time of his life. Do you want to know?
So what's important, I think, for the viewers, which I'll say to people, and you keep saying this, which is really, really resonant, is every kid's different. You've got to know your kid. And I've always said, if you know the 4-pillar model of the FA, I think it's like physical, technical, psychological and social.
Yeah.
So what you're saying on the psychological and the social side, yes, Vinny had the technical and probably the physical, but that side of it, he needed that sort of grassroots environment to flourish.
Because to be free.
Because, you know, and this is not bad on academies, but everyone's got like 6 months of... It's a different environment.
Yeah.
It's not that, is it?
Yeah.
They're not doing Butlins, tournaments and different
It's completely different.
It's retain, release, it's analysis.
And listen, Wayne, there's some brilliant and academy football does give routine, it gives structure, it gives discipline. But I knew that Vinny wasn't ready for that. That would possibly bore Vinny too early. He needed to be at the right age with the right maturity to go into that. Because the last thing I wanted to do was throw him back in at 10. If his behaviour isn't great, he's released at 11. Then all of a sudden, he's gone in somewhere at 6, come out. He's gone in somewhere at... Then all of a sudden, you don't want that like, oh, there's some... You know.
Yeah.
Then what happened was, I think we had 2 or 3 brilliant years at Tipton. It went on to be the Dons. And then COVID come. And then it looked like grassroots wasn't going to kick off for ages. And the academy was still going. And, you know... And I remember Kevin Dove rung me at West Brom and went, listen, can we have him? And I was going to take him there first, and then I can remember Steve Hopcroft rung me when I'm at the Villa. Can you bring him over tonight? And so I took him over there. But Vinny was mentally ready. He was mature and he was ready, and it was the perfect time for him to go in.
I think he did a bit with Riley with talent ID stuff, didn't he, to take over when he could?
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
I know they've always had a good relationship. I think anyone looks back and from this wants to know. I think there's a video of Riley coaching Vinny. On here that he's put on YouTube. One thing with Vinny, cool people you're on about, I think they said Merson was one of the last of the Mavericks. I know Merson did a good overlap thing, but I'd say that Vinny's the type of player plays like a Maverick or has to play free. How have you found academy football for that type of player?
They have to fit
not just Vinny, but in general, because you're watching it.
It's very structured, isn't it? It's very because then all of a sudden it doesn't become so much about the player, possibly becomes more about the team, which is totally understandable. You know, I think the good thing is when you're at 16, 17, 18, they're preparing you for real football. You know, it's not all about the players; it's about how well the team's doing. How well does that team fit into structure? Vinny will have to learn that, like all the other kids do. It's not only about what you're doing in the final third. Are you defending? What are your running statistics like? And I think it's a big learning curve for all the kids, because eventually, and I'll say this honestly, you don't know who's going to do what until you put them in front of 20,000 people. And then you're going to say, are you going to have the ball now if you're losing 2-0? Because with all due respect, grassroots, there's no fan, academy in the... You don't know if anyone's going to sink or swim till you shove them in front of,
Until they turn up at the reserve game and a week later they're in the first team.
That's what I'm trying to...
That is a very... I've seen back in the day at Warsala's commercial, Premier League captains of 23s coming on loan, and that kid had to be a good player.
Yeah.
But it didn't seem to translate to where that was. Yeah. One really interesting thing I think you said, and a lot of people overlook, so any parents, and there's so many good things. No one's kicking academies. They can be brilliant for kids in terms of the other aspects, what you said. But what people I think must understand as well is a parent and a family's journey on it. So you said you've got 3 kids.
Got 3 kids, and,
most of the time would be at taking Vinny everywhere.
And this is what I say, I've got 2 other kids doing really, really well, love them dearly. But we had this conversation earlier because it's not all about Vinny, but because Vinny's playing football, everybody's first question is, how's Vinny getting on? Not how's Stevie doing or how's Layla doing? And I feel that must be difficult for them. Right, so I always try and speak to them about it and go, listen, unfortunately, it must be difficult because everybody's interested in football. Most people love football, but when you've got other kids that are doing as well in different ways,
and what you're saying there as well is the balance for a parent. And I think someone said the other day, it's lovely to see. There was what's the lad's name there? There was a lad who come on for his debut, and I was at the Villa this year, and his mum was in front of me,
right?
And she was honestly, mate, I wish. I wouldn't have. I wish I could have
videoed
that moment for her and said, there you go.
Yeah.
I wish I'd done that, but I just, like you, thought about the journey.
Yeah.
And thought, even though he's coming on, she was with, I think, his dad.
Yeah.
I thought, God, you've been on a journey as well.
That's what, you know.
And
now
like what you've said is, did they say Trent's brothers stopped so Trent could do what he did? And there's so much sacrifice, isn't there?
Yeah.
What I think parents, family, carers need to be aware of, and credit and kudos for everyone who does it, because so many families give up so much to allow their children to try and do it.
If the younger kids, I've been at Villa and seen, moms there with their son, and they've got 2 young kids sleeping in the car in car seats, just sat there for 2, because an academy journey is a lonely journey for parents, because basically you drop off, you can't watch a lot of the sessions, so basically you sat in your car or sat in the McDonald's somewhere just waiting for them to finish. So it's a lonely road, if you know what I mean, which is what people don't see. And that's why I always sit there and thinking, all I ask of Vinnie and any of my kids is just they're all older now, but all you can say is if someone's putting themselves out for you, like I say for me, because I did Vinnie's journey a lot on my own, turning down work or can't do work. And I'm not going to say I want anything back for that, but they're the the sacrifices my mum and dad made for me and my brother. I'm the same with Vinnie, and you never know if it's going to work out or not. You're hoping it does, but if it doesn't, you've given the best opportunity to flourish.
Whether you've had a background in football, vast majority of parents are going to do and go on that journey. Yeah. And I think what's important, we were talking about numbers, weren't we, before? So we're talking about Ace for a minute, still busy. Yeah. There's different age groups. And what I found is the numbers are vast now at 7s to 12s. Yeah. 12s to 16. Take away elite level, which you're talking about academy. Yeah. The drop-off can start because there's other social pressures. And I'm not as good as I was and I don't want to play. But then even what we're speaking about now, we're both in it at different levels for our boys and lots of people we know. I think I'm right in saying from 16 at Vinnie's level at Villa, pro at under 18s, whatever it is, at 21, 85% of those boys are not playing football. So I always say to a lot of these boys now, if you give yourself 10 years and parents and coaches and everyone invests in you from 6 to 16, you must give yourself 5 years back, because then you'll find your level. Now, even if your level is Russell Olympic, which I'm not saying that's not a good level, because there's more than just the grass in football, isn't there? Yeah. But that resilience word that you said is really key now, because the race has got quicker to the bottom. Yeah. But what people need to realise is the real race, if you want to call it a race, 16 to 21.
That's the biggest race.
It's mad, isn't it? Because it's such a long journey from now, some are at 4. Now, we have kids moving at 4, but I'm saying some people have got Instagram pages for kids. I know you. Yeah.
I don't.
I know. I agree.
I just think it puts too much pressure on
what
kids.
I'm saying is that journey's so vast. Yeah. From call it 5 to 16, where the real, it's like when you get there, it's like you're still at the bottom of a really big ladder.
That journey from 4 to 16 is great and should be your most enjoyable. If you're going to do it professionally and for a living, nothing before 16 matters to me, because it's a job. You're in a dog eat dog. It's not now. You're not just battling players in your own country. You're battling players from all over the world. That's just the way of the world. It is. Sometimes I do wish that we looked after our own kids a bit better, like the Spanish.
I'm not in and around it, but I can remember a really good local player, Riley's age, was told at a Premier League academy at under 16s, he had 6 months to prove to them that they would have needed to pay $500,000 for a kid from Europe. Have you found at that top level at is there European kids in the academy now?
I just think football at the top end, Premiership, is it's multi. But I do just sit there and thinking, sometimes like our best kids have to go abroad and then be brought back. If you know what I mean, you look at the kid. Is it Nanwari at Arsenal?
Yeah.
12 months ago, he was like the Max Dowman. And now he's not at Arsenal. I know he's gone on loan to, is it Marseille?
I don't know.
He's gone on loan to Marseille. But great player. But I'm sitting there thinking, why is he not in the Premiership? And I know it's a loan and it's an experience, Wayne.
You just mentioned the names, these exciting names. You watch Max Darman in the academy?
Yeah, I saw he came down, he played against Villa last year, and it was great to see a kid play with so much freedom because he was everywhere. And I'll say that honestly, he was left wing, right wing, getting the ball off his... So
he's got a gold star against his name, haven't they?
The kid is a massive talent.
Right.
Massive talent. All that I'm scared of is for players like him is at some point they've got to go into a team structure.
Right.
Now he's only a young kid and I'm thinking, what is he, 15, 16? All the pressure comes is eventually he's going to have to go and play in a team. He's going to have to go and play in a team and be in a structure.
So that's really key then, that he's got what you had at certain points, that someone who believes in him to allow him to be free.
And like I say, at 15, 16, there is no pressure, is there? But when he's in, at some point, if he goes into Arsenal's first team, what he does that looks so brilliant now, and there's plenty of them about, I'm not just going to say it's Max Darman, there's plenty of these players, but eventually they're going to have to fit into a team structure to win something. Then the flair of the player becomes second to the team ethos.
Do you know what? It's been brilliant speaking to you, Stephen. I always say, because we've only ever spoke probably on Vinny's journey, what a great journey you've had in terms of your game. Last one before we do your five-side team, have you enjoyed overall the journey as a parent?
You know what? I have, because it's been... As a parent, I think like my own career that was up and down, and I feel like I've seen everything ended up finishing with injury. I feel like, I've had some good times with Steve when he played. He got diagnosed with leukemia when he was 4, so that really, he had to learn to run again. So, I mean, the journey through grassroots, I really, really enjoyed. Cole Ron, Tipton, AFC Dons. And I think for Vinny, as his father, I chose the perfect time for him to go in.
So what bit of advice then for parents have you got?
Choose the right environment for your own child. And I know when academies come calling, it's the biggest call as a parent to say, I don't think he's ready. But all I would say is, don't place your child in an environment that they're not ready for.
I think that's a real key one, Steve, and thank you so much for your insight.
I've really enjoyed it.
From what we talked about, this could be quite a special one. No, it's your choice. So you're going to have a five-a-side team. You don't have to have a keeper if you don't want. Right. But through all the people you've played with, who is Steve Hayward's five-a-side team?
Right, now, if I wanted a goalie, I would put Peter Shilton in goal, but I'm not going to choose him on the basis of in goal.
He didn't do well enough in his career.
I'm going to have Stan Collymore, because when he come to Fulham, right, and trained, he was a brilliant goalkeeper, and he was also a brilliant outfield player as well.
So you're a maverick coach.
Yeah, so I'm going to Stan Collymore, pushback goalkeeper, right? So then I'm going to have. I thought it's difficult, I'm going to have. Philippe Albert.
He's made two teams now.
Yeah, Philippe Albert.
Mike Gillespie.
So I'm going to have Philippe Albert at the bottom of my diamond.
Yeah.
So that's 2, isn't it? At the top of the diamond, I'm going to have Peter Beardsley.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I've gone,
The Beardsley Shuffle.
Yeah, the Beardsley Shuffle. And then I've got to have, it's difficult, Paul Pescasolido.
Okay.
Yeah, we lived together for basically 3 years. While I was at Fulham, and
he played blues as well as Fulham.
Yeah, he played blues. So I'm going to put Pesci in there for his doggedness.
Just being a mate, or was he a good player as well?
Good player, great lad. But you know what? I think we paid £2.5 million for him in League 2 as well. And he was like the little ferret.
Okay.
Worked hard, like all over you like a rash.
Because what we've chatted about, I'm trying to think who's the last one going in then in midfield.
Difficult. You know what? God, I'm just trying to think now. I've got to have Louis Saharan as well. Because I saw him start.
You only need Philippe Albert at the back there.
Yeah. Because I saw him come to Fulham and tear Man United apart. That's why he really ended up going to Man United. Because and it was great to see a player come in, and he wasn't that tall. He could jump. He left-footed, right-footed, strong, quick, got everything.
I've seen Aaron Lescott do a podcast, and he's always maintained of all the players, and he's played against them all, that Louis Saha was his biggest problem.
I just sit there and think he got injured, didn't he? A lot of Man United. Right. So I think he would have been in the Van Nistelrooy kind of.
Karl-Heinz Rummenigge might have won the World Cup,
Karl-Heinz
but he's not getting
Karl was 35 when he come to Fulham.
No Andy Cole.
No,
no Redknapp. No Ray Wilkins, bless him.
No.
But look, Steve, your five-a-side team's right up there. I hope you've enjoyed it, because I think obviously
it's been really good.
Our WhatsApps go crazy with football. You've got so much value to give, and there's things I didn't even know that you'd done. Evidently, this. Thank you for donating this to us. But look, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for your time, Steve Hayward.
And can I just say, what a brilliant job you're doing? Because I've seen you start from nothing, literally one team, to where you are now.
Make sure we get that in, Pete.
Be appreciative of what you've done for all the kids out there, because really, you're giving them routine, you're teaching them respect, and also there's a window of opportunity.
Do you know what was nice? We spoke about, we won't say evidently yet, because I don't think he's put his pen on paper, but there's another lad who's going to go to an academy very close to us. And I think what you said is what we try and do. Look, everyone is develop the opportunities for the kids. And I think environment, opportunity. So, no, thank you. Because it's been a long journey for that. But thanks for today. Thanks for your compliments. And good luck to Vinny and you, Steve.
Thanks, mate.
Top man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.